Team USA sweep the World Cup qualifiers with their 5th straight win against Spain, and Caitlin Clark gets MVP for the FIBA World Cup qualifiers.
In what should be a surprise to absolutely nobody, Caitlin Clark has been named Most Valuable Player. Wait, Puerto Rico got into the World Cup? Wow.
Did Caitlin Clark just prove she is the biggest needle mover in women's basketball? Comment yes or no if you think she did. Caitlin Clark had not played a single basketball game in 239 days. No rhythm, no real run, no chance to ease back in, and after all that time away, Team USA still did not start her in the first game.
Well, it's what we've all been waiting for. It's been 239 days, I believe I saw, since Caitlin Clark has been on a basketball court hitting a three-pointer. Today we were all witness. Caitlin Clark is back. She did not start for USA basketball, for Team USA. The response to that is, yeah. And I knew it would be.
But somehow, that made what happened next even louder, because Clark came off the bench in her Team USA debut, played just 19 minutes, dropped 17 points and 12 assists, and instantly helped turn this FIBA qualifying tournament into must-watch TV.
Caitlin Clark had a berserk 17 points. Wow. 4 of 5 from three-point range, 12 assists in 19 minutes and 21 seconds. Absolute, pure, unadulterated domination.
According to the source material, the 5-team USA games pulled the highest viewership numbers in FIBA qualifying tournament history. And that is what makes this whole conversation impossible to ignore. That is also why the Angel Reese angle got so much attention. Not because the source proves Angel Reese literally said she was furious. It does not.
Just when we thought Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark saga was over, no beef, no nothing. Oh man, footage is starting to hit the internet, man. So basically there is articles starting to come out as of right now about Angel Reese ignoring Caitlin Clark, pretty much not showing her any love during that last matchup. Now, Angel Reese ignores Caitlin Clark multiple times in Team USA win, and video proves it, bro.
But because the comparison is brutal, the same wider women's basketball world that spent months trying to argue Caitlin Clark was not the main draw suddenly had to watch Team USA become a ratings event the second Clark put that jersey on.
And I did see that the MVP did come out, and guess who it is? Caitlin Clark! Wow! They also did an All-Star 5, which consists of Megan Gustafson, Cecilia Zandalicini, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Plum, and Chalker, 4 out of 5 play for the WNBA. FIBA has really been promoting Caitlin. They were showing so many highlights on their socials, and I think that it was a very good decision because honestly, she may not have scored the highest points in every game, but her impact on the game and the tempo that she creates in every game and the excitement that she creates in every game is undeniable.
That is where the real story starts, because before Clark ever touched the floor, there were real questions. 8 months away from competitive basketball is not a small layoff. There had been injuries, missed time, and an entire stretch where fans were left waiting. There were questions about rust, questions about timing, questions about explosiveness, questions about whether she would need a few games to look like herself again. That is the context people need to remember. This was not just another debut. This was a return after a long silence. Fans had spent months waiting to see whether Clark would still bend the game the same way, whether the passing vision would still be there, whether the pace would still feel different, whether the gravity would still show up the moment she crossed half court. And then she checked into the Senegal game. That was it. The entire tone changed. In 19 minutes off the bench, Clark finished with 17 points and 12 assists. The source also says she had 0 turnovers in the first half and broke 5 FIBA records before even hitting the 20-minute mark. 2 of those records stand out the most. Most assists ever by a bench player in FIBA history, and most assists in a Team USA senior national team debut, men or women. That is not hype. That is a historic first impression. But the numbers only tell part of it. The real proof was in how the floor looked once she entered the game. Clark was reading the blitz before it arrived, turning pressure into transition, finding cutters in rhythm, and hitting shooters exactly where they wanted the ball. The offense looked faster, sharper, more connected. The second she stepped on the floor, Team USA looked different. That is why the rust conversation died so fast. It was supposed to be understandable if Clark looked hesitant. It was supposed to be reasonable if the timing was off. Instead, she walked into international basketball after 239 days away and made the entire game look simpler for everyone around her. That is not normal, and that is why so many people immediately started asking the same question. If she was clearly changing the game that much, why was she still being used like just another piece? That tension sits right in the middle of this whole tournament. Clark comes off the bench, breaks records, changes the pace, makes the offense more dangerous. And yet the team still did not immediately hand her full control. That is the frustration. The numbers on the floor were pointing one way, while the rotation decisions sometimes seemed to point another. And that is the basketball argument here. Not that Team USA was bad, not that Clark had to take every shot, but that when she ran the offense her way, the results were obvious. The pace improved, the reads improved, the spacing made more sense, and the team became much harder to guard. The Italy game felt like the clearest proof of that next step. Clark was at her most efficient in the Italy blowout. That was the game where the offense was built more around her strengths. The three-guard look with Clark, Paige Buchers, and Kelsey Plum looked dangerous. Italy had no answer for it. And that matters because it changes the story from one hot game to a real blueprint. This was not just Clark checking in, getting hot, and creating one viral box score. Across the full 5-game sample, the source says she finished with 58 total points and 32 assists. She averaged 6.4 assists per game, which led the entire tournament. She played 21 minutes per game as a bench player, which was a Team USA high. She also led Team USA in two-point percentage, free throws made and attempted plus minus and efficiency. Those are not nice return numbers. Those are, this player is controlling the tournament numbers. And the plus minus point matters. When Clark was on the floor, Team USA became almost impossible to compete with. That is one of the cleanest ways to cut through role arguments and minutes debates. Whatever the rotation said, the impact said something else. Now bring that back to the ratings conversation, because this is where the Angel Reese title makes emotional sense, even if the stronger factual case is really about audience power. The source argues that Clark's Team USA return pulled viewership levels that embarrassed the numbers from Unrivaled and silenced the idea that interest in women's basketball is spread evenly across all stars. Its point is simple. The second Clark came back, the audience jumped. That is the uncomfortable part. It is one thing for Clark to play well. A lot of people can shrug that off and say, she is talented. Fine. But when the ratings move with her too, that becomes a different conversation. That becomes market power. That becomes proof that fans were not just waiting for women's basketball in general. They were waiting for this player. And that is why this tournament felt bigger than Puerto Rico, bigger than qualifying, and bigger than one record list. It felt like a reminder that Caitlin Clark is not just a scorer. She changes tempo. She changes spacing. She changes what defenders panic about. She changes how teammates get the ball. And according to the source material, she changed the size of the audience too. That is a rare kind of influence. Then came the final stamp, Tournament MVP. At that point, the award almost felt like a formality. The debut already told the story. The full tournament numbers already told the story. The ratings already told the story. The only thing the trophy did was make it official. So no, the biggest takeaway here is not whether Angel Reese personally liked any of this. The biggest takeaway is that Caitlin Clark came back after 239 days away, came off the bench, broke records anyway, won MVP anyway, and dragged the sport's attention right back toward herself anyway. That is what really happened in this tournament. And if Team USA truly learned from it, the next step is obvious. Stop treating Clark like a piece you need to carefully blend in. Build around what she does best. Let everybody else benefit from it. Because every time this tournament gave Team USA a choice, the same answer kept showing up. When Clark touched the ball, the offense got better. When Clark played, the numbers got bigger. And when Clark returned, the whole conversation changed. So let me ask you one more time. Did Caitlin Clark just prove she is the biggest needle mover in women's basketball? Comment yes or no.